What's up, everybody? Wait, run that
It's
back.
karma. No. It's karma.
Yeah,
I'm putting
yeah, that
that
was
in.
crazy.
So sick ass.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the episode of the Point After Podcast. I am your host, Kale. That's my boy Jay to the left. Episode 43, man. As you can see, I'm battling allergies right now. I got intense allergies, so I'm heavily medicated right now. But I'm still here. I show up. I get it done. That's what I do. Jay, bro, you don't have allergies, so I bet you're pretty good, sir.
Yeah, just dealing with a slight computer prompt issue, but other than that, man, we doing great. Another great week of basketball and football. I'm not football. Excuse me, not football.
Well, there's
Um,
something in football that did happen,
there we
but
go.
we'll talk
Thank you.
about it.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about that. But start me off though, man. Let's go straight into it. It's kind of gonna be a long episode. We got a few games to go through and shit. So, Knicks and Celtics, my boy.
Yeah, so start it off. Man, that game one, that was bad by Boston. You're up 20, you blow the lead. Jalen Brunson had a chance to win it there in the fourth. He missed it, but went to overtime.
Missed left
Yeah,
hand too, though.
I know. Yeah, he went. That's he went to a spot too, but in overtime the Knicks just closed it out. But I thought Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown throughout that game weren't that good. And then shout out to Mikal Bridges ripping Jalen Brown at the end to save the game. But the Knicks played well. I think they're going to give the Celtics a tough series, but still, I think Boston wins in six. Look, we see for the first time in what I think it was history or a long ass time, all these road teams beating home teams in the first game of the in the playoffs. So shout out to the Knicks. They came out, they played well, but Boston I think locks in for game two, and like I said, I think the series is over in six. Shout out to the Knicks though, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, but I feel like there's a kind of other factor of if Carl Anthony Towns could really keep up and really be a huge factor. I think he could kind of turn
Yeah,
it around on its head. But if Brown continues to do what he was doing, I think he was the only real.
you thought he played well?
In a sense, I thought he did a lot of with his finishing game, his mid range game, all the putbacks he did. But
Right. Okay.
if we're really gonna harp on somebody, it should be Jason Tatum. I mean, he had a
Yeah,
great
he
first
didn't
half.
show up.
Great first quarter, we should say, and then he kind of just disappeared all in itself. So it's
Yeah.
like it kind of falls to Jason there, and a lot of poor things with Boston's defense. Not closing out, leaving guys open, mismatches. So they just got to do better. I think, like you said, they will clean it up. I do think Boston was this series in 6 or 7, but
Yeah.
Knicks are going to give them a run for their money, man. That's for sure. Brunson, yeah,
Yeah.
you call it foul baiting or not. I mean, he gets to the line, kind of just like a SGA thing. It's
Yeah.
how they control the game. They slow it down. They do what they do.
Yeah, versus to me, I thought the best player on the floor, I'm gonna be honest, was OG Anunoby on both sides of the
Yeah,
ball.
I
He,
was, I was,
he's
I was, I was,
fantastic.
I was gonna. Yeah, you forgot to mention OG, that
Yeah, he
clutch
was
three.
balling. Yeah, he was balling 6'3", 29 points, shot 10 for 20 from the field total in that game. 46 minutes. The guy was fantastic. The reason why I just don't believe in the Knicks over Boston is just simply, well, the top end talent, obviously, with Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. But the depth, like if you look at the Knicks depth, they got Preston Chua cut off the bench. He plays 5 minutes. Campaign 3 minutes. I mean, Trey McBride, not Trey McBride. I'm thinking of the Harrison tight end, Miles McBride. He gives him
Suck,
a scoring punch.
suck at football.
he gives him he gives him a scoring punch off the bench, but he's one player, and he definitely is inconsistent as well. And then Mitchell Robinson, who's a big, he blocks shots, he rebounds, but I just don't think the Knicks just have enough scoring off the bench for them to hang with Boston. And again, like you look at Jalen Brown and Carl Anthony Towns, right? They're two best players. Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum are just better than Jalen, or they're better than Brunson and Carl Anthony Towns. And I love Jalen Brunson. He's incredible, bro. But like I said, Boston, their overall the talent, their depth. I mean, what we saw the game where Pritchard and Derek White both went for 40 off the bench. I mean, they got bench guys who could go nuts. And can't forget about my man Al Horford and Obviously, we know what Derek White brings to the table. Porzingis as well. He got hurt in that game, right? And
But
I think I missed. Yeah, I think I missed that part. But hopefully they get him back for game 2 because Porzingis is the X factor. Like Porzingis is the rim protector, but obviously he goes out and he spaces the floor at a high level. But like I said, shout out to the Knicks. They came back. They played well. They could have just laid down in that game 1, and they just completely they took that game for Boston straight up.
They really did, and we'll kind of see how it goes further along in the series. Do you think, before we get on to this next game, do you think they take game 2?
No, I think Boston. They know that they know. I mean, they can't go down 0-2, and I just don't expect them to. They're gonna play better. They know that they let that game slip away. And like I said, I know I just said that the Knicks took that game, but at the same time, you're up 20. The reigning champs, they have that experience. They know they should have closed that game out. So I think in game 2, they'll clean up their mistakes. We'll see them play Boston Celtics basketball, and I expect them to beat them for sure.
For sure. And I think that I think Jason Tatum will prepare himself a little better, come out in the second half a lot stronger.
For sure. What's
So
the next game, boss?
We got, man. We got the Nuggets and the Thunder. Me and you were tweeting a little bit about this game when you said, what did you say?
Huh?
I don't remember the number you said. I remember the team you picked. I just don't remember the number. I just don't want to butcher it. That's why.
Oh well, I'm gonna be honest, bro, because I know we're not gonna talk about the past series, but I picked the Clippers to beat the Nuggets in 6, dog. And James Harden, once again, we're not gonna talk about James Harden. Hey, Hall of Famer, great, one of the greatest, but we know what he did in that game 7. But
that's Curry's son.
Hard to dispute it, man. Look, Aaron Gordon, shout out to the Bay Area product, man.
Hey, hold on.
Salute to AG.
Hold on, I know.
I'm about to get to it. I'm about to get to it, bro.
Okay.
Let me. I had to just shout out Aaron Gordon real quick.
It's crazy. It's just.
Well, obviously we know Chet Holmgren choked those 2 free throws, but Nikola Jokic, this guy, this dude Jokic is just offensively. I'm speechless, bro. I tweeted out, bro.
And as a rebounder,
incredible.
And as a rebounder,
bro, he's incredible, dog, and he was dominant in that game. But the Thunder showed their inexperience in this game. They gave up that lead in the 4th, and again, this is why some people have their concerns about OKC because even though they're incredibly talented on both sides of the ball, defensively they have one of the best statistical defensive seasons in history, and again, they have a lot of talent, but again, they're a young team that's still, like last year they got to the playoffs, right? Everyone thought, okay, last year was the year they went through their bumps and bruises, but still though, they're still a young team. I mean, they haven't won a championship. The Denver Nuggets core has won a championship. They know what it takes.
A lot of experience.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm still picking OKC.
Nuggets have been there.
Yeah, I'm still picking OKC to win this series, similar to what I said about Boston, New York. I think OKC wins in 6, maybe 7. But again, it's in the playoffs, man. We've seen it, bro. You can't mess around with leads, man. Leads are never safe. You got to close teams out. You got to, when you're up double digits with 4 or 5 minutes left, like you gotta close the game out. And Jokic is incredible. But
do we watch the Warriors? I mean, they give up 20 point leads like almost every game they play. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah. Well, take care of this. I gotta blow my nose real quick.
Yeah, no, you're good. Honestly, I do think, in my personal opinion, I think the Nuggets are taking this in 6. Just along the fact of, hey, bro, mute that mic, dog. No, I'm just playing.
Wait, did you hear me?
Yeah. I told you to. Never mind.
Oh, I thought I was on mute, dog. I thought I was on mute.
Nope.
Wow, that's gonna get clipped up. What were you saying? My bad.
Yeah, no. What was I saying? Basically, if Nuggets could get a little more production out of Michael Porter Jr., while also seeing if Jamal Murray could keep up this play, I know Jokic is playing crazy minutes. I mean, so is the damn whole team. Barely the bench is playing besides Westbrook. So, and also I feel like Westbrook plays a factor too, coming in off the bench, putting in his
Bro, put some
production as
respect
well.
on Westbrook's name, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
We
That's what
always
I'm
love to
saying.
slander him, bro, when he plays bad and post him up
Yeah,
in memes and shit. Bro, he's a future first ballot Hall of Famer, bro. When he like, come on,
100%.
bro.
Yep, I don't doubt
He's
that
been big. You're
whatsoever.
right though. Not to cut you off. I was gonna say he's been definitely big for this team for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like Michael Porter Jr. here is the kind of the one in the corner where it's like, can he help the Nuggets in a way they need to? Because he's been very inconsistent, you know. So we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, well, they weren't exactly up by double figures, bro, but like they were up by 9 with under 7 minutes. And again, like a 9 point lead isn't nothing, but when you have SGA who is probably gonna win MVP, and overall this team just Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren and the crew, like these are the kind of games like you gotta finish, and you can't give a team like Denver any life because when the game got close, I was like, yeah, bro, Nuggets are gonna win. Like again, they know what it takes. They've been there. You can't let a team like that, like in a close game, like I'm gonna go with them every single time. But like I said, I expect OKC to figure it out, and they've been off for a while too. And this is kind of the one thing I wanted to say about people say, oh well, it's good to get rest, right? You want to get your time to heal and days off and practice and all that kind of stuff to an extent. But as you're seeing, like a lot of these teams are rusty that are getting 5, 6, 7 days off, because they haven't been in game flow. Like look at the Warriors last night, and we're about to talk about them. Like they weren't rusty, even when they lost Steph, which is unfortunate, but like you can tell like they were in game mode, they were in game shape, they were competing. I think you're seeing with a lot of these teams when they're getting all these games off, they're not as in sync as they were in the previous round. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
yeah,
I think it
yeah, and
definitely
then
showed. I think it definitely showed. We'll get to it too, but I think that statement alone just purely applies to Anthony Edwards because I feel like
yeah,
just him taking that rest just completely threw him off his momentum.
yeah, dude, Nikola Jokic, bro. Do you see, bro?
Being the coach and the MVP out there, 42 points, 22 birds. I
Hey,
mean, Jesus
look,
Christ.
I was totally against the Mike Malone firing. I thought it was stupid how it went down. I thought the Denver Nuggets disrespected him. But you got to give some credit to David Adelman, who's come in as the assistant coach. He's done a really good job, man. But Jokic is only what was the number? I'm trying to look at the stat, bro. They had about Jokic. Oh, okay. Jokic just became the fourth player in NBA history to at least have 40 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists in a playoff game. It's crazy, bro. Like I've never seen anything like him, bro. I've never seen a guy like that fundamentally sound combined with the fact that he's not athletic like that.
Nope.
Like, you look at him and you're like, that's a guy that I used to play against at City Sports, bro.
Yeah, literally
He's just chilling.
You literally look at him and all you see is sloppy, but you're like,
No, he's not sloppy, bro, but he's
well in a sense, right? I'm saying with his movement, and everything. But
yeah, he's offensively, bro, he's incredible. But let's move on, man. Let's talk about the Pacers and Cavs, man. Cleveland, we have a problem. Jacob, what's your thoughts, man? This is Cleveland's down 2-0, buddy.
Cleveland's your team, buddy. Hey, all I'm saying
What
is,
do you mean? Cleveland is your team, bro. You love Donovan Mitchell.
You've been advocating for Cleveland the whole year. Talk about how they might take it all the way, brother. Come on, we got the real receipts now.
All right. Since they're my team, then let me go first here. Look, I'm gonna break it down to you.
I was gonna say, what do you think is like? Because I know a couple players were out. Is that right?
Well, yeah. The problem is for the Cavs is they got hit with the injury bug at the wrong time, and I've said it. I was talking to my pops yesterday about this, bro. It's like to win a championship, the obvious is you need talent. You need a little bit of luck, right? Things have to go your way, whether it's officiating, whether it's making crazy shots, teams turn the ball over. Yeah. And then lastly, you need health. Like you need your guys to be there. We've seen teams win championships and they not being the most talented team, but they were the healthiest. They got there in the end. And you look at Cleveland, like Darius Garland's out, Evan Mobley was out
Yep.
in game 2 with the sprained ankle, and DeAndre Hunter had the dislocated thumb. They're losing like 3 of their 5 best players at the wrong time against the Indiana team. That is really good. They push the pace a lot offensively. They're really good defensively as well. And we see
Collect.
Tyrese Halliburton. He's been fantastic. So
I just like how collectively they score as a team.
yeah,
Especially like starting five, right? All of them get their
yeah.
touches, all of them get their looks, and especially
Andrew Nemhard, bro.
Aaron the Smith has been stepping up lately,
Oh,
man.
Naismith.
23 back-to-back games. I mean,
Yeah, he's a
just
stud.
beautiful. It's beautiful stepping up, and then Halliburton just reassuring that he is most definitely clutch. So
But that celebration he had was nuts, bro.
that was crazy. That was crazy. And then Siakam
Yeah,
being all reliable. So I just feel like, and let's
yeah.
not forget about Miles Turner as well.
No, for sure. Warriors target for the last 6 years, Miles Turner.
Dude, he
He's been
and
rumored to
actually,
the Warriors for every single year. It
I
just
hear
makes
that
me
every
laugh.
year. No. It's funny because Miles Turner would be literal perfect fit for the Warriors too, but it just can't seem
Oh
to
yeah,
get him. So.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, the Cavs are in trouble, man. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was fantastic last night. He had 48 points.
You can't even hate on Donovan Mitchell. Dude's doing everything as God, glory, and power to put this team over, and it's just he's getting no help.
Yeah, as well as Max Strus. Max Strus turned up with 23 points. Jared Allen 22 and 12. He was good, but at the end of the day, man, it just came down to those last few possessions. And then you talk about the Cavs; they blew that lead. The Cavs were up in this game, but again, you couldn't close. Like in the playoffs, man, like you got to be able to cut down turnovers. You have to take smarter shots because these teams are not going to stop playing. They're really good for a reason too. They're here too for a reason. So
Absolutely.
I mean, look, I think with the Cavs, hopefully they can get Garland back for Game 3. I
Yeah,
don't know the status of
Mobley with
Mobley and
the sprained ankle is a little touchy with basketball. You got to go easier jump
yeah,
in every time. You're coming the way you come down on it could possibly re-injure it. So
yeah. I mean, like I said, I think if they get Darius Garland back at least, that'll be definitely be a boost for them. But man, this series really could go either way. No
I
doubt,
was gonna
Game
say,
3 is a must-win, obviously. So
what do you feeling this comes out to? I'm thinking 4-2 Pacers now. Just of how it's turning out now. I think
wow,
I think Cleveland at least gets 2 though. I don't think they're going just 1 and going
man,
home.
we switched up on Cleveland that bad, huh?
I mean, it's not switching up. It's just kind of what's happening in the moment, right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Hey, obviously, we could stick with we could be like Cleveland and 7, and they have no damn. They're not even near it.
Yeah, I will say this though. That's a good sign for Cleveland. These 2 games, the combined points total they've lost by is 10
Yeah,
points.
no, I was about to say it's the games have been severely close. I was going to note that too. Yeah,
And
without
without Darius Garland again this game, you lost Tyrese Halliburton game winner, and you had, like I said, 2 key players out. So I think when they get Darius Garland back, who's going to get the ball more out of Donovan Mitchell's hands. Obviously, we know Darius Garland as a scorer, as a playmaker, the pressure that he puts on defenses on every possession. I think that's going to just give them another weapon, obviously. But man, they're going to definitely need Mobley back. I still want to pick Cavs, but this Pacers team is really good. I think they're definitely the most underrated team in the entire playoffs for sure.
they're going to come out hard next game too to try and just get that 3-0 lead, just to sneak it. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
feel like they're really going to try and come out strong.
I got Cavs in 7.
Okay.
I think I still believe in the Cavs. Obviously, like we said,
My
Game
boy
3 is a must
my
win.
boy,
You're
my boy
not leaving. You're
Caleb
not
got
coming
that
back from
faith.
3-0.
My boy Caleb got that faith.
I got to, man. I can't turn them back on my guys now, man. One, because we all know, bro, like similar to OKC, bro, these teams got really no respect as 1 seeds throughout the entire season
That's true.
from
That's
the
very
mainstream
true.
media. So, but I'm rolling with the Cavs. But Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, I tweeted about it and against the Bucks, bro. He's one of the best floor generals in the game. I mean, the guy is just the way he sees the floor, bro. He's incredible, and he's elite, bro. But sticking with Cleveland, got to.
He's gonna stick with the Cleveland Cavaliers, dog, and I respect it. I do respect it at the end of the day. And the Golden, quote my boy Flight, the Golden State Warriors Oh man, it's what's that word? Melancholy victory. Cause it's like I'm happy they got the first game. You
Melon
know,
copy, what's that?
melancholy. Jesus Christ.
I don't know what that
Melancholy.
is, bro.
It's read a book, goddammit. But basically, I'm happy in a sense that they won, but then again I'm a little sad. My boy Kirk,
Yeah,
left hamstring strain, nothing, no non-contact injury. That's we know how hard those can hit. And it's
yeah,
also being his first hamstring injury, so you're gonna have to kind of be careful with recovery, right? What I got here per our boy Shams, um, grade 1 left hamstring strain will be ruled out for game 2 against Minnesota on Thursday. It's obviously the first one, so it's unclear how they're gonna do the first rehab. Shout out Shams, but
yeah. I think Steph Curry misses game 3. Um,
game time
I think
decision
he
for game
misses.
4.
I think he misses game 4, dude. I think he's probably back for game 5, even game 6. If the series goes that far, bro, hamstrings. I never had hamstrings, bro, but like, thankfully, never had a hamstring injury, knock on wood. But those injuries, bro, we've seen it from players in the past, bro. It's just hard to like, bro. If you can't move your leg, bro, like if it's tight and locks up, you can't function. Like,
Yeah,
similar to if you hurt your back, you know what I mean? Like, it's a tricky injury. We've seen Chris Paul have it throughout his career, and how he had to miss important playoff games because he's tweaked his hamstring, and especially Steph at 37 years old now. I mean, it'd be different if he was younger.
yeah, he
When you tweak your hamstring in your mid 20s or in your teens,
kind
I
of
think you're able to shape back more. But in your
right
mid 30s, especially with all the mileage and how
wear and
I mean,
tear on his body.
the guy's running miles every single game he's out there. It's a lot of wear and tear. So especially the positive thing about, well, not positive, but I guess the silver lining you can take away from Steph injury is that also it gives him time to heal up that thumb
Yeah,
as well, not just the hamstring, which I think would be good for him because he's been wearing that cast on his hand.
yeah,
Uh, you know,
absolutely.
with the whole series against the Rockets, he did. So, I mean, it was a gutty win. Shout out to the Warriors, man. Jimmy was fantastic. Buddy Hield, your favorite player,
Dude,
he was amazing.
Buddy and Jimmy's whole kind of
They're hilarious, bro.
they're
They should
hilarious.
they should become like a reality TV show, dog.
No, serious, because them together is hilarious. But I think that Buddy knows in himself that he has to step up. He knows that he has to, and seeing what happened with Curry, and let's not forget Curry had 13 minutes. I mean, 13 points in 13 minutes. I mean, I felt like he was about to go off for 40 if he didn't get injured. So let's be real here. But I love how Buddy has been stepping up. Also, after a quiet first half, he didn't do too much, was kind of missing his shots, and then he kind of came along in the second half where the Warriors really needed him, which was very crucial. Also, Draymond, right in the hot hand. It was great. It was great to see him step up too, not just offensively, but defensively, and also in the passing game. And shout out to Jimmy with offensive boards, something that the Warriors
Bro,
have
he was amazing.
struggled severely with that. Also, Jimmy with his putbacks as well. So I think going forward with how Warriors defense has looked, I still got them in 7, but I do want to note, dude, Anthony Edwards, man,
He had a tough game
I
1.
was I was I
Hey,
was like, no, no,
Chris
no,
Finch
no,
called him out, man.
no, no, absolutely. And watching him in the first half, I was just like, that's not the I know. I mean, that's not the guy who
He
just
had one. Did he have like 1 point at
one
halftime?
point, yeah, 1 point. And that's also a credit to the Warriors defense as well. I don't think it's all just Ant having an off game because he did come along in the second half. It was just too late. But and also Rudy Gobert, not too much of a factor as he was last round. I think that was very clear. McDaniels had a
Well, he had
very
the game against the Lakers, bro. He looked like prime Shaquille O'Neal
that's what I'm
in
saying.
Game 5.
He ain't doing that shit again. So let's
Yeah,
let's let's be real here. And I think you I don't like to take regular season too much into a factor, but Warriors own them then as well. So
yeah.
I feel like with a good game plan, I heard Super Pat Spencer is going to be getting more minutes as well. Shout out Pat Spencer. I feel like he's a
And
good
he can
ball
hoop,
handler.
bro. He can hoop, bro.
He's a good ball handler. He got a little sky hook. I like that. And it's a whole lot better than what Kuminga and Moody have been producing lately. Moody's just has been a little slump. little shooting slump. You could definitely see it. He hasn't really got his
Man,
confidence there.
it breaks my heart, man. You know
I
I'm
know
the biggest Moses Moody fan.
he was me too, and he was doing great. He was
He
doing
was.
great. It's just
He's
he's
still
in a slump. I feel like it was
he's
a
impact
confidence thing as well.
he's impacting other things in scoring. Look, his shot is just not there right now, but he still is a guy that rebounds the ball well. He's still someone that is a good perimeter defender. Again, but in certain lineups, like if Gary Payton II's out there, if Draymond's out there, if Jimmy's out there, you need guys who can shoot the basketball. That's why Buddy
Guys who can
Hield,
score. Yep.
yeah, and if Moses Moody isn't hitting shots, then it's like, okay, like I would rather have GP2 out there, who's our
Right.
best perimeter defender.
Best defender.
So,
Yeah. And then
yeah,
Kuminga
but
is like, and it's like he's such an isolation type player. You can't really put too much through him with the Warriors offense and how they pass and how they run and how they do things. You give it a Kuminga, he sizes up, goes in, ball goes somewhere. You know what I mean? And it's a turnover or it's just a wasted possession. And I feel like that's why they haven't been giving him these opportunities. And also I feel like with Kuminga as well, it's a confidence thing.
Look, as a guy who used to play basketball,
hey, I used to play basketball too, dog. But
yeah, from experience, like, well, from my college experience, I'll just put it like that. Like when you're in a situation where you're not playing, and then you get thrown into a situation, it's hard, bro. Like I can't really be mad at Kuminga, dog. Like he has no rhythm. Like he hasn't played enough minutes for him to make mistakes and feel the flow of the game and be able to, like I said, feel the game out and for him to be better as the game carries on. Like it's just hard, bro. Like for people to say, oh, yeah, for people to be like, oh man, well Kuminga's been doing this. Like, bro, like it's just hard, bro. Especially because the role that Kuminga had earlier in the season. Like before Jimmy got there, Kuminga was a 20-point per game scorer. Like Kuminga was balling for the Warriors before Jimmy got there. Then when Jimmy got there, Kuminga got hurt, and then when he came back towards later this season, he was struggling a little bit. But I think the Warriors, it's just like they're kind of just doing him a disinterest, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's why, like when Kuminga gets in, I can't be mad, bro. Like basketball, it's about rhythm, bro. Like it's about playing consistent. And if you're not, it's hard to make a simple layup. It's hard to hit an open mid-range shot. It's hard to hit free throws, bro, because you're cold. Like you just feel off. And
yeah, no, I get that. It just I feel like it just doesn't excuse his turnovers though, in the way he attacks the basket every time. It's like make an adjustment. It's almost like he's doing the same thing every time when I see him.
Okay,
and also,
let me ask you this.
It's also like you pass the ball, which he did end up doing a lot more towards the end of the game where he was getting the late minutes.
Okay.
Right? He did make his adjustment, but I feel like with me, it's the dribbling with Kuminga. He has no ball control. I feel like that's been his issue though. Every time I watched him, it's not a cold type thing you're saying. His shot, that I understand.
Bro, when you're sitting down on the bench and you don't play, it's hard to stay. I get it. And I support Kuminga because he's been clapping, standing up, smiling, supporting guys, bro. It's just hard, bro. Like, okay,
and it might be too much energy when he's going to the basket. I fully understand that because he hasn't had that feel out process yet. That I understand.
Were people complaining about this with Kuminga before Jimmy got there? No. People love Kuminga. People were like, oh man, this guy's a franchise pillar. He's averaging 20 a game. This is the Kuminga we want.
And yes, hold on. When he was averaging those 20-point games, there would be some inconsistent nights where he would have the exact same issues as for what I'm pointing out. Yes, everyone loved Kuminga. I get what you're saying here. Yes, everyone was on the bandwagon of Kuminga was real good and he's doing really good. He's a real good player. But even then, he was doing that same thing, driving in, ball goes somewhere. I seen it all the time. That's where I was like, when he was doing this yesterday, all I could do was flap and throw my arms up because it's just the same thing he usually does. And maybe that does cater to him being cold and him reverting back to the same mistakes. But I hear you. When he was averaging 20, he was that guy. But then again, he was still making those same mistakes just in minor consequence.
Yeah, I hear you. It's just I gotta cut him some slack, dog. Like
I understand because he hasn't gotten minutes in so long.
And look, and I stand by this, man. I'm gonna stand by this right now. The Warriors are playing really well since they got Jimmy. They've been the number one defensive team since he's gotten there. The Warriors, they've hung their hat on defense. You know, going back in that Houston series and that game one against Minnesota, but I still stand by it, bro. I just don't think they can win a championship, bro. If Kaminga's not a big part of this team, I just like you. If now the question is if Buddy Hield continues to shoot like this, then okay, then that's a different conversation. But you're gonna need Buddy Hield to keep playing like this, and evidence shows that he's like this.
That's the thing. That's
So
the same thing with a lot of players on the Warriors squad, though. That's the same thing you could even say about Kuminga. You could even say about that Paz. Paz did the same
yeah,
thing yesterday. Was absolutely a non-factor. Like 1 for 8,
yeah,
1 for 7. Just
yeah, and
terrible.
you do need Buddy Hield out there, and look, Steve Kerr has put a lot of trust in him, and you need his floor spacing. I give Buddy Hield some props, bro. He defensively,
Defense.
he's been
Yeah,
really
yeah, it's
locking in
defense. Yeah,
defensively.
yeah, yeah.
But
And also, no. I do think they do keep Kuminga on the floor. Maybe not even for his the offensive aspect of it, but just defensively. He's a very great defensive player. So I just feel like just
yeah,
having him out there even for that is
yeah,
phenomenal because you could also have him switch on to Ant when he needs to, which was done yesterday too.
yeah, and I think when you going Minnesota before we get sidetracked, I think Chris Finch was exactly on the money, calling out Anthony Edwards after that game. When you're the best player, you have to lead from the front. You got to set the example. And Anthony Edwards, when I watched, like he just looked lackadaisical to me. I know he was trying to get his teammates involved, but he just looked a little bit too passive to me.
Right.
And again, like I think in game two, he's going to come out aggressive, and I think we're going to see a totally different Anthony Edwards, which is going to be good for them. Um, for me, and shout out Julius Randle. I thought Julius Randle played pretty good as well. For me, I think Minnesota, this is going to be the series where you're right. I don't think Rudy Gobert is going to play a lot in this series. I think the Minnesota has to go small with Nas Reed at that center position
Yeah, as I
because
say, Nas Reed in his sorry to cut you off, but Nas Reed in that 3-point shot when he was in the game, that's going to be detrimental.
yeah, because he spaces the floor. He's athletic. He can put the ball on the floor and Joe will pass players. But for me, it's because Rudy Gobert can't stay in front of Draymond. And we see how Draymond was frying yesterday, bro. I was like,
Hey,
damn, is this 2016, bro? Like,
hey, 2016 Draymond coming back in full effect. But shout out Draymond for that absolute
yeah,
dog walk he was
that's the
doing
problem
yesterday.
though. Is like Rudy Gobert doesn't want to guard out on the perimeter. He wants to stay in the interior. Draymond, if he's hitting shots or if he can basically what he can do every time
Or
blow by Rudy Gobert, it puts him
exactly.
in
Or
a tough spot.
he could even switch. And I remember it wasn't on Gobert, but he switched and then he had that nice. I think it was on Randall, and he had that nice little pass where Buddy did a little in and out route
Yeah,
and 3. It's just perfect. So I think either way, they're not going to stop this. In my opinion, the Timberwolves are going to have a realization here of a collective team working as a whole and a better defense as well. Like
yeah,
an actual defensive prowess, not the Lakers.
yeah. I mean, no doubt. I mean, the Warriors clear the Lakers defensively. I mean, like I said, they've been the number one defense since Jimmy's got there. Um, the Timberwolves will play better.
Also, did you want to
They'll
touch on
play
this?
better, bro.
Absolutely. I know. I agree. I think Anthony from here on out averages at least 27 a game,
But
possibly.
one thing I
But
want
no, no,
to
no.
add is
I
on
do.
this. So hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this. The one thing I wanted to say is Draymond for me is definitely he's the X factor for me. Like I just talked about with Gobert,
Mhm.
he's the one that for me is if he's aggressive, whether he's making or missing shots, if he's aggressive, he's putting the ball on the floor, getting
Doesn't
guys
foul
to
out.
collapse where he can kick guys out and get open shots.
Doesn't
Draymond
foul
could
out.
be a real big X factor in this series, and a real important player for this Warriors team. For Minnesota, that's Jaden McDaniels for me. A guy, Jaden McDaniels, believe he's 6'10". Let me see. Let me fact check this real quick. Oh, 6'9", 6'10". I knew I was right. You saw what he did in the Lakers series as a guy who can score the basketball, but defensively as well. He's a guy that I think they're going to put him on Jimmy and make it really more. They're going to make it hard. He's going to try to make it hard for Jimmy. So Jaden McDaniels is definitely the X factor for Minnesota of what he can do on both sides of the floor, and obviously Draymond as well. But what were you about to say?
No, well, for Draymond, I mean, I feel like he he just has to stay in the game. I feel like that's what it is for Draymond. Just don't foul out, brother. Just don't foul out.
Yeah.
Stay in the game. Be responsible with your texts and all that shit. Because
So
what the Warriors cannot risk is you getting out late second quarter, early third. Imagine that. The Warriors are gonna lose 9 out of 10 times. And also, before I forget, number one thing I did want to add, what we didn't talk about was Jimmy don't look 100%. At least in my eyes. At least in my eyes, because the way he's been passing it off, he's passing up open lanes. I was talking to Caleb about this yesterday. Passing up open shots sometimes. I think he shot a 3 that almost looked like it hurt him, as he was going up. So I don't think he's fully there. But shout out Jimmy for playing through his injuries.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to add, damn, I think I forgot. Yeah, go back to Draymond. I think Steve Kerr did a masterful job in that Houston series. I believe it was game 6? No, it was game 6. I think it was game 6 and game 7. What he was doing with Draymond, he was
Fred, right?
No. What I'm saying is that when Draymond would get a few fouls early, he would sit him down. He didn't want Draymond to get in foul trouble, and also he preserved his energy. When Draymond was able to play a lot in the fourth quarter in those crucial moments. I think in this series as well with Rudy Gobert and with the athletes that Minnesota has, I think it's against Steve Kerr, that chess match is where, hey, if Draymond picks up a few fouls, hey, you know what? Even if we want to keep him out on the floor, let's take him out, let him rest for a little bit, and then we can put him back in the game as well later in crucial moments. I think Steve Kerr did a great job of that in the Houston series. This is because you need Draymond out there defensively. Everyone knows that, bro. He's a defensive player of the year candidate. You know what I mean? He's one of the greatest ever, bro, defensively.
Yes, one of the best ever defensively, but in my opinion, he's probably the best help defender ever. In my opinion, the way he helps on defense is crazy, and I do think that I think the Warriors are gonna come out in the series, man, in 7.
Yeah, but I mean, this series is hard without Steph now, bro.
That's what I mean. Steph kind of threw a wrench. Steph's injury kind of threw a wrench into everything.
If Minnesota plays the way they're capable of, again, I want to give respect to playoff Jimmy.
Especially when he could turn it on too. It's not like he's been passing that off almost every time.
Yeah, Minnesota could win this in 6 or 7. I'm just being honest, bro. Minnesota's that good. They're a contender, bro. They don't have a lot of weaknesses, bro. And like I said, I think this game 1, I think people are, like I said, getting a little over the top, bro. It's one game. You know what I mean? Minnesota will play good in game 2. I think it depends, like I said, when Steph Curry comes back. If he comes back in game 5 where, let's say it's 2-2, then, hey, Warriors got a shot. But we'll see.
But even Jimmy after the game, he was like, "Yeah, man, we need Steph Curry, dog.
Yeah,
we need Curry, man. It's just easier."
That was a long Warriors segment, dog. We put a lot more time into the Warriors, bro.
Well, we Bay Area peoples, dog. I mean, this is why
you're the Warrior fan.
We're Bay Area people, though. So don't pretend like you ain't no Curry fan, man. Everybody's Curry.
Curry. Yeah, of course. How can you not be? But moving on, man, to some football. That's going to cap it off for the NBA. Some breaking news happened today. George Pickens.
Can I just say real quick? George Pickens is, yes, the topic. Steelers are fucking stupid, dog. I'm sorry, but what are you doing? I get you got DK. I get that. Who do you got behind the man? Who's your second option? West Virginia?
Pat Freiermuth. He's a good tight end, bro.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes. 2 options, buddy. For what quarterback?
It's Aaron Rodgers. You know it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, and how's Aaron Rodgers these days?
Hey, he's better than Mason Rudolph.
Okay, so now we're getting to the real. So it's going to be Mason Rudolph because nothing's confirmed with Rodgers yet. And Rodgers should just retire at this point. You know what I'm saying? He could have his little DK Metcalf and Pat. You know, it's what's it going to do? And I'm sorry, but I feel like this is just mad disrespectful to Pickens. And also, you gave him away for pennies, dog, and you gave him away.
You got a 3rd and a 5th. You got a 3rd rounder for him. For wide receivers, that's pretty solid.
I would have took a 2. You got me fucked up.
But Pickens is coming off this year where he wasn't that good. He was, you know what I mean? I'll say this about Pickens. There's no he had 59 catches for 900 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's a deep threat. There's no doubt about that. He's 12th in yards per catch, 15.3 this past season. I think him coming to Dallas, they're going to be a pass-heavy offense with him and CD. Dallas needed somebody who can get down the field and make contested catches down the field because we saw Brandon Cooks at this stage in his career just not good enough. So, like I said, Cowboys needed another weapon, and they got a young guy who's, like I said, he's one of the best deep ball receivers in the NFL. The question is, the running back position for me. That's still a concern for me with the Dallas Cowboys. I like Jake Ferguson, the young tight end he had. He's a solid young tight end. They drafted the guy out of Texas, Jaden Blue, who has a lot of upside, who they're high on. They obviously brought in Miles Sanders, and I'm blanking out on the running back. He was with Denver. What's his name? Williams, something Williams. I forget his first name. Javonte Williams, yeah. So it's a running back room that's like, you know what I mean? But look, they're going to be pass heavy with Dak Prescott. That's just what the offense is going to be under Sean Hyver. It makes their offense more dynamic, but again, it's just one of those things where, the Cowboys have a lot of people. They got to pay Michael Parsons. They're going to have to pay Pickens next year.
They're not paying Pickens next year. He's going to be a free agent.
Yeah, so it's like you gave up a third.
To go to the divisional round.
That's what I'm saying. You gave up a third. You gave up a pretty decent draft pick for a guy who might just be a 1-year rental. I think it's good biz by Pittsburgh, man.
See, I think no. Because they're going to be terrible.
What do you mean?
They're going to be terrible this year. Their defense is going to hold them up, but what are they going to score?
No doubt, Pittsburgh's going to have some problems offensively, they're still going to. They could add a wide receiver. You're acting like they're not going to add a wide receiver. There's still some good wide receivers out there.
Who are we going to add?
Amari Cooper. He's a scrub. Amari Cooper's a scrub.
Amari Cooper at this stage of his career is a non-factor.
Come on, man. Keenan Allen, he's a scrub.
Why is he still a free agent then?
I don't know. Same thing. I don't know, bro. Sometimes teams gotta wait. They gotta see how the draft grows, who they sign in free agency, how the salary cap. Not everyone signs in free agency at the start.
No.
So let me ask you a question. No. Does Amari Cooper stink? Does he stink?
He doesn't stink, man. But it's
okay. That's what I'm saying, bro. He doesn't stink. Does Keenan Allen stink? No, he does not stink, bro. He's good. They're still good wide receivers.
All right.
Look at me crazy. Bro? I'm stating facts.
I'll let you have your phone, bro. I'll let you have your phone, bro.
Look, are two of them? Are they? They're older than Pickens.
He had Josh Allen as his quarterback. Not saying he's trash. I'm not saying he's terrible, but he wasn't doing too much. Yeah, and obviously Josh favored his other wide receivers more. And obviously, yes, it could get DK more looks. Cool. Who's throwing him the ball and who's protecting the quarterback? And also, that's one more weapon upon your plethora of shit.
Yeah,
you have 3 and 4s back there at wide receiver. Terrible. Besides DK.
Yeah, you have Najee Harris, who's gone now. You lost Russell Wilson and now Pickens. So the offense is going to look a lot different going into the season. I just think the Steelers are looking at him like, okay, we just gave DK Metcalf $30 million. We can't pay another wide receiver high money like that. You know what I mean? That's just whether we agree or disagree. That was just the thought process. And look, the Steelers are a defensive team. That's where they've been centered around. I think that's just what their thing is. And we know they're going to be competitive, bro. No matter who's out there, they're still going to win 9, maybe 10 games.
7 to 10, dog. Write it down, all right?
Mike
7-10
Tomlin's never
right
had a
now.
losing season, bro. Never had a losing season, dog.
Okay, dog. Like when is that conversation ever gonna be like was debated, I guess? Because yes, you could have continuous winning seasons, dog. Win some goddamn playoff games and have some improvement. What happened to consistent improvement instead of
So
being?
Mike, so
Hold on, hold on,
so
hold
Mike,
on. Don't cut me
so
off.
you're done with Mike Tomlin. So you're done with Mike Tomlin.
We're we're going to continue to be complacent then, because that's what you're being if you're sticking with Mike Tomlin. Where's the improvement been, Caleb? Where's the improvement been? I want to know where improvement has been with this Pittsburgh team besides being complacent and just what is that called? Like a placeholder. Just a placeholder for just mid.
Bro.
When are we going to put that into question though? Because
My question is then, if you're
when
gonna
has
fire Mike Tomlin, bro, if you're gonna fire Mike Tomlin,
who are you
who
going
are
to
you
replace
bringing
him
that?
with?
Who's better?
has
Who's
that question.
better? Who's better?
Everyone has that question.
Okay,
Everyone
is
has
Mike
that question.
McCarthy
And
better
guess
than
what?
Mike Tomlin?
And guess what? Hold on. Quiet down. Everyone has that conversation because this is what comes along with the fire Kyle Shanahan conversation. You know damn well there's going to be a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, a new college coach that's just going to get sucked up and glazed on that, oh, they're the new up-and-comer. There you go. Take a risk on another coach, but being complacent and just you can keep Mike Tomlin for another 4 years. I could give a goddamn, but you're gonna be in the same exact spot or near the same exact things, dog, because
But
there's no improvement.
This isn't on Mike Tomlin though, dude. Mike Tomlin has had Mason Rudolph. He's had an aging Russell Wilson. He had an aging Ben Roethlisberger.
You're telling me he has no verbal, no decision making and nothing to who his quarterback is going to be.
There's a bug in my room. Yeah, I mean, of course he has input, but it's like who are they realistically gonna? Who are they gonna get?
You don't think on draft night he had an idea of who he wanted at quarterback? Who you think he has some potential on? I mean, yes, to an extent, you definitely got to blame this on the organization. Absolutely,
bro. At the end of the day, bro, the owner has the final say. GM has more of a say than head coach, bro. Like going back to my team, the Raiders, bro, in that draft with Jamarcus Russell and Calvin Johnson. Lane Kiffin, our head coach, wanted Calvin Johnson. Who did Al Davis want? He wanted Jamarcus Russell. Look how that played out. Like at the end of the day, Mike Tomlin, bro, he only has so much power. It's not like he's the head coach / GM. Like I'm sure he was like, man, like I like Shador, or man, I like Jackson Dart, or this or this. But at the end of the day, there's other people in that office that are like, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, and he's gotten the best out of that team, bro. Like I Mason Rudolph at quarterback, bro. They've been competitive. Like an aging Russell Wilson, who we know is on the decline. Like they made the playoffs. Justin Fields, who a lot of raw talent, but we know right now Justin Fields is not a great quarterback. Look how Justin Fields played under Mike Tomlin. I'm just saying, bro. Like Mike Tomlin has never since Ben Roethlisberger, like when Ben was in his prime. That's the last time he had a legit, like real solid quarterback, bro. And that's going back. Like, I mean, when did Ben Roethlisberger retire? Well, let me look this shit up, dog. I'm being serious, bro. Like, we gotta put some respect on Mike Tomlin, bro.
I ain't looking that shit up.
No, I'm looking. All right, he retired in 2022, but the last few years he was not good. So we're going on almost 5 or 6 years now since he's like had a legit solid quarterback, like a guy who's like, man, we have a chance because we have this guy. Russell Wilson made you believe like, oh, Russell's playing well, but you know, Russ is Russ. He's okay at this point. So I don't know, man. Like, I mean, you could bring in someone different to create a new voice, that sort of thing. But
it's called an offensive league, and it's called an offensive head coach who could actually put some input and then maybe throw something back at the organization and maybe try something different. But I don't know.
It's valid. But you also look at Pittsburgh history. Bro, they've only
Absolutely.
had 3 coaches in their entire history. 3.
Very true.
So I don't know,
Like I
man.
said, it's a cross between. I won't give Mike Tomlin all the blame. It's a cross between a dumbass front office, a dumbass owner, a dumbass GM, and a really fucking good head coach.
And think about this, like, okay, the Pittsburgh
Defensively, I'll say.
Steelers just traded away what the most dynamic weapon. Do you think Mike Tomlin was like, yeah, let's trade George Pickens? Like, you know what I mean?
No, and I think they do that is because they rely on Mike Tomlin too much to carry the defense in itself. Because look at last year, low scoring games, pulling it out by the edge of the teeth. I've seen tons of scores that was like on 19-17, keeping them low scoring games against really good offensive teams. So
Yeah.
I give Mike Tomlin his credit at the end of the day because defensively, no one really could touch the man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not saying Mike Tomlin's the best coach in the league. I think he's one of the best, but I'm not saying he's the best right now. What I'm saying is I think he's just had recently, the last 4 years, he's been in circumstances where he's been able to squeeze the most out of this team. And I mean, they do have talent on this team too. I mean,
I do give him credit for that.
They do have some talent. But going back to George Pickens, it makes Dallas more dynamic. Like I said, they're going to be extremely pass heavy. But you're right. The Steelers, they got to find another wide receiver. This offense, they got to figure something out because losing
dry.
Russ, losing Justin Fields,
if
it is Aaron Rodgers,
it's just dry. You know what I mean? Like you look at that offense, you're just like, there's nothing to it besides DK.
Yeah,
and Pat.
Yeah.
Pat's not a bad tight end at all. But regarding Pickens to the Cowboys, that's like you said, literal 1-year rental. It is not going to go further besides that because guess what? He's going to go divisional round and lose. And honestly, Cowboys are going to get lucky enough to make it to the divisional round because the NFC is shaping up to be a real monster lately. So
let me ask you a question, and I'll cap it off.
Cowboys are going to struggle. That's all I'm going to say. But they're going to be great offensively. Fuck the Cowboys.
My last point on Pickens. I'll put it to you like this: there's no doubt that the Steelers, I think, had their concerns about Pickens as far as just from a character standpoint. Now, do I think he's some kind of like shithead? No, I think he's a good dude. But clearly, he's had some moments on the sideline where it's immature.
Yeah,
let's be real. You know what I mean? And I think the Steelers are looking at it like, okay, is this guy going to be worth a long-term commitment if he still are showing those sort of things? Like, is he good enough to be our franchise wide receiver?
Yeah.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are like, he's a talented deep threat. He's dynamic as a 50-50 ball catcher. There's very few you can take over him. But I think Pittsburgh looked at it like, I don't think he's that guy. From a personality standpoint, a character standpoint. And that's why they did it. We can agree or disagree, but like I said, it's kind of similar with the Chiefs, right? Like Tyreek Hill wanted 30 plus. He wanted to be the highest paid receiver. The Chiefs were like,
not doing that, buddy.
Nah. You know what I mean? I think Pittsburgh was like, we got DK.
Take the cheaper out, but and we'll take the discount Tyreek at the end of the day.
Yeah, and they chose DK after. Now DK is kind of like an older Pickens in a sense, but DK is more proven. And I think DK at this point, I think DK is. I think he's a little better, bro.
I like DK, but all I can say regarding that Steelers team being good or not, and my last thing on Pickens is he is going to have a really good season, given a really good quarterback too. Also, the opportunities he's going to get being alongside CD and getting those open opportunities. But man, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, it was about the Steelers, huh? See, now I forget.
My bad, I blew my nose.
I know it was about the Steelers, and I forgot.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, you had. I'll say this: you got DK, you pay him a lot of money. You're not going to pay 2 receivers that kind of money. You don't really see it. That.
All I was going to say is basically DK is going to get his touches, no matter who's his quarterback. So he's going to have a good season regardless.
I would slightly, like I said, take DK over George Pickens.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But Dallas needed some dynamite, and they got one. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah,
and nothing in the run game. But anyways, that's just gonna cap off the episode 43. That is a long episode for y'all. Good stuff, my boy. We'll come at y'all next week with more playoff review, and I don't know. We'll see what other topics have comes up. Caleb, anything for
yeah.
the people?
Hopefully my allergies are a lot better, bro. It's just crazy. Getting close to summertime. That's how I know I got allergies, bro. It's about to be summertime.
It's about to be hot.
But yeah, we love bringing you guys this content. Week in and week out. It's a lot of fun. We just be talking our ish.
Like and subscribe, bitch.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow the socials, follow our personals as well, man.
Yeah, talking a bunch of shit.
Yeah, man, just having a good time like always, bro. But love y'all.
Love y'all. We out of this one. Peace.